it's rare that you find a female perspective. It's rare that you find guys who sit there and want to take the time out to get to know you. Like in our generation now,
Right,
it's
right.
getting harder to find that because it's nothing but, like let's go, let's go out and see, you know.
I agree.
So, I mean, just, you really can't judge anybody, based on what they say. I mean, some people might not have it, as bad as, maybe, you thought, but, I mean, like, or, they don't have this or they don't have that, but I mean, like, at the end of the day, you can't judge somebody based off of that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because, sorry, because
Nah, you good.
you're not in their situation, you haven't been in their house, or, you haven't been in basically like their body, their mental state for the past, let's say, 2 years.
Right, right.
You really can't judge somebody based off because they don't have a car, or they don't have this job, or they don't have this type of income that comes in, or something like that. You can
Hmm.
easily build them up off of that. And
Hmm.
I think this is pretty much like what a lot of like relationships slash friendships most people really get
Hmm.
mistaken by lately because it's like, oh, like this was no kind of, it was just a club, so, try to be passionate or not, like we trying to get fucked up on Penny or not, like what's up, or for y'all,
Right,
I
right,
don't
right.
know. All I know is y'all be crazy, but you know. Or, over there, like, I know you see him sitting over there, like, go over there, we'll see you in the morning. So, that's just off the bat, like, bitch, like, what if you let me get something? Like, it's like the smallest things in, like, a friendship or a relationship that, like, most people don't realize. And then later on, they get judged for that
I see what you're
because they
saying.
made that mistake.
Hmm. I see what you're saying. So you correct me if I'm wrong, but kind of like what you saying is you can't you can't condemn a person too immediately and too savagely for what they may not genuinely know. Uh, if I'm kind of hearing you correct, because basically, and it makes sense. It's true because basically what you're saying is until you faced that person's inner demons, you have no right basically to judge where they are in life. Is that what you're basically
Yeah,
saying?
right. Right. But even then, like, I mean, where most people, get wrong situations is, they let that inner demon come out and then, like, they're like, oh, I don't want to talk to you no more because you got that burden over you. Or, like, you got this that, nobody else probably knew about, but, now I'm finding out about it, blah, blah, blah. Like, you can't sit there and judge them for that. Like, they'll probably be sitting there like, damn, like, I shouldn't have said nothing. Because coming from a female, like, if we say something that we don't want for y'all to know about it, like, we're always going to look stupid, regardless of even if y'all correct us on, oh no, like, I ain't gonna judge you, like, we're still looking there like,
Hmm.
did we just mess up? So,
Hmm.
it can't be all about like just, oh, like I'm gonna judge her off of this, if she says this or damn, I used to know, like she had that, like, gaslight me or that situation, like, damn, like, I don't want to talk to her no more. Like, that comes to a part where you have to man up and just basically sit there and tell yourself, look, she can't be in this bad of a situation, like, I see getting worse, blah, 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 let me help her out, let me give her some advice, this and that. Like,
Hmm.
period.
Well, again, like I said, I definitely appreciate your perspective and honest opinion. That's kind of what I was leaning towards initially, but I needed to, run that by somebody who I felt was very intelligent. Because at your age, when I was your age, I was getting into trouble, and when I was your age, I was unfortunately, just trying to throw my life away. When I really just sit back and think about all the stupid things I did. But I wanted to run it by you because I felt as though I needed to make sure that I wasn't being taken advantage of. And because again, like I said, just to reiterate it to you, this individual, this one particular female, she made a comment today about her wanting to move in with me, and that made me feel like, oh there, before you say something like moving in with somebody, you need to have already explained and expounded to me that, okay, if you were to hypothetically move in, then how would you be coming into this picture and helping us progress both simultaneously towards moving on to bigger and better things. And I think if I heard you correctly from what it sounds like, which it kind of brought me to another question, is how do you know when somebody or something is a lost cause? Meaning, like, okay, you don't want to obviously just deem somebody like as another human and just go to them and say, oh hey, just kill yourself. There's no potential ability for you. Don't want to just say that obviously, but what I'm saying is, like, how do you, which this may be something I have to determine personally, but especially as a black man, and like you said very eloquently, which I agree with, a lot of black men tend to get with women and they'll know that they're not good news, but the sex may be good, what have you, and that will suffice for them, and they will stay around that longer than they'll accept more viable options, and give time to the better women that they kind of know, okay, that's probably a better fit for me. And that's what I'm kind of trying to make sure. I'm trying to make sure I don't fall into that pitfall myself. But at the same time, from what you're telling me, if I heard you right, it kind of sounds like you're saying, well, at the same time, everyone has potential to be somebody. And I feel like, where's the median? Where's the line in the sand in that, if that makes sense?
Okay, well, one, I'm going to set up with you. One, don't be confident in anything else that you tell right now. Point blank, period, simple. Because I feel like you already, basically pretty much have set yourself into a position to where now, like, you're looking back and you're pretty much just like, oh, like, does she fit my requirements? Or, can I see her, with me, in our, let's just say, like, in your apartment, like, for the next 3 months? Is she going to be stable enough to hold her own, on this or on that? Like, it's pretty much all on you. Like, don't, get yourself caught up in multiple females at once, and then you meet, like, the end is where you're over here contemplating life, and you're like, dang, like, which one, do I have to, pick? And not just solely based off of, it's pussy good. Like, it's gotta be, which one do I see, let's say myself with the next 2, 3 months, not just on some chill, smoke weed vibe shit. Like,
Right.
some intellectual, like, oh yeah, we can still chill, smoke weed, but when it comes down to, like, at the end of the night, like, around, like, let's say 11, that's when the most intellectual, conversations start. Like, can I be able to open up to you at, like, 11 o'clock at night, or can, if I call you, let's say at, like, 9 or something like that, like, in the morning, and I ask you for money, or, this or that, or for your view on this, can I, rely on you pretty much.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
But like I said, I mean, like, you, for one, are making a mistake of talking to 3 different women at once. But I mean, at the same
Now,
Like it can't be either or. Like it has to just be one thing.
right. Now, let me definitely be definitively clear in saying now when I say I'm talking to three women, that what I mean by that is I'm not sleeping with three women. I'm sleeping with one particular female only right now, just her. Now I am conversing in the sense of meaning like, okay, how did your day go? How did what did you do last weekend? Or discussing general topics. I'm discussing, and you could still call it talking, because I don't want to make it seem like I'm trying to make an excuse or scapegoat my way out of it. But yeah, no, I'm not. Hey, if the shoe fits, buy the outfit to match. So I'm gonna keep it real. So you could still say that's talking. You could, but I'm only with one intimately right now. As far as the other ones that uh, we talk to each other is generally about this type of thing and this type of conversation where it's like I'm just asking their perspectives on different things about life and philosophy and just kind of seeing where their intellect stands and where their beliefs stand, just trying to basically, like I said, figure them out. But you make such a good point though when you say that that's a big mistake right then and there. And see, that's why I felt like I needed to embark on this project because too many times young black men get advice from other young black men that really aren't in the position to give advice, if that makes sense. Meaning, like, they'll have their own extremely convoluted mindset and mentality, and you'll find these brothers going back and forth on topics where it's like, bro, you really even shouldn't be asking him because this Negro hasn't had a successful relationship since his freshman year in high school, type shit. So, um, I guess, man, I don't know, man. It's just it's weird because see, like I say, I meet a person like you, and see a person like you have most of it all, if not all of it, already there. Because just like how you said earlier, very elegantly, which is true, the material is never an indicator of the person. The person is the indicator of the material. So I can't just say, oh, hey, just because they don't have it, it's just kind of that. I can't say that. But again, like I said, when I meet someone like you, who you stimulate me intellectually, and we connect on a level where uh, it makes me feel it's okay. I could see myself growing positively with this person, as long, obviously, as long as there wasn't like a big serious deviation. Like, oh, you went just got off into some crazy shit and started stripping at V Live or some crazy shit like that. Which I seriously doubt. But and again, like I said, I run into the other person, which is kind of like I feel like this person might have just had better timing when I met them because see, like, and I've even told her this too. I've told her that I met you when I first came to Dallas. I really didn't know anybody else. So, and not to be mean, because like I said, it's what I told her. I said not to be mean, but uh, had I known more people, you know, um, more different, diversified people, kind of like how I know now, including yourself, then I probably wouldn't be messing with you like that because when I met you, all we did was chill and smoke. And, then like what, the third time we hung, we smashed. And then after that, you know, um, as far as conversation goes and intellectually stimulating abilities, they don't really deliver on the same playing field or on the same level that someone such as yourself within the same caliber as yourself does, which like I said earlier, that's a gift and that's a rarity. And that's why I asked you earlier on in the conversation. I was basically trying to ask, is there essentially a cheat sheet that you can use to discern between the people that you should give a chance to or people that you should totally avoid giving a chance to whatsoever, if that makes sense? What do you feel about that?
Okay. let me wrap my head around what you just asked.
Nah, you good. You good. This is real shit I'm asking, man, because like I said, I don't find it cool or fun to be that person that's out there purposely on some, oh yeah, I got all the hoe, and then you're really out there creating scorned women because you couldn't be honest with them, and you were scared to just man up and tell them how you really felt, or the real deal Holyfield. Like, I tell her every day I talk to her, I say, well, we're not in a relationship. You may tell me these certain things, like, you want this, or you want potentially for us to date at some point, but until first of all, until I feel that way, I'm not going to honestly look you in the face and tell you, with honest intentions, okay, you are the only one, you're the only female besides my mom that I'm talking to. So she knows that. But like I said, it's the small things that I try to look at people, and I kind of like try to use the small things, like if you remember when you were a little kid, the connect the dot puzzles. When you would look at the blank page and then you would look at what it's supposed to look at after, you would never think that if I connect all these little small dots that really look like they don't mean shit, in the end they'll build up to look just like this. So you never see it coming. But again, like I said, I'm trying to figure out internally, as a man who doesn't want to make a bad mistake for myself, and number two, I don't want to create another monster, or hurt anyone else's daughter and send them back into the world with a mentality that's like, oh man, I'm really finna tear some shit up now because this last dude messed my heart up. I'm not trying to create that, and I'm kind of scared, honestly, because like I said, this girl made it kind of clear, like, okay, she wants to move in and she wants to potentially date, but then, like, when I see stuff, for example, like when I see stuff on her Snapchat that indicates to me that she's kind of looking for handouts, that makes me worried. And what I mean by that is, like, and me being someone who used to smoke weed, I kind of feel like, okay, weed and all that stuff, it can make you act a little silly sometimes, and you won't always display your best. But when I see a girl say something like on her Snapchat, even if she's smoking, when she says something like, well, man, I think I really just want to date an older guy. I might have to just get me a sugar daddy. That's the kind of stuff that makes me feel like, okay, now do you want to be a productive member of society that, can say that they went out into the world, they achieved something for themselves, and they went on to achieve something for, humanity, or, their race or their family legacy, name whatever? Or do you want to be the type of person that is basically looking for somebody to accommodate you at every turn, and you never really just have to utilize your own intelligence and dexterity and strength and mental ability? So what do you think about that? Honestly, like, don't sugarcoat nothing. If you feel like, hey, like I said, if you feel like this person is a ratchet, if you feel like this is a hood rat, whatever, say exactly what you want to say, because I want the bare, hurtful truth.
Okay, well, I mean, like, I don't know these people, so I really wouldn't know. But, truthfully, I mean, everybody has to give chances. I mean, like,
Mm.
basically, if one of the females didn't work out, then I mean, like, you gotta just bounce back from that. Like, you can't take that as, oh, like, damn, she wasn't what I thought she was. Like, I thought I was gonna be able to, fix this with her, or, blah, 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 this and that. Like, you just gotta give chances when chances are due. Point blank, period, and
Mm.
simple. Like,
Damn.
I
Say that
mean,
again.
and that's the truth.
Say that again. I've never heard that. Say that again.
I don't even remember what I just said.
You said something. You said you have to give chances when chances are due. Is that something you thought of?
I mean, it just came out the way it came out.
Mm. You have to give
I mean, I'm just saying, because, like,
chances to
let's
do.
say, you get into a relationship with one of the girls, and unfaultly, she secretly has a baby that you don't know about.
Right.
Hopefully not.
Right.
But, some females are sneaky like that and shit. And, they possibly, don't want for you to know about that just yet. Which, most females, if they want to keep something like that from you, that's a protective thing. Because, one, they might not want for you, just yet to meet their son or daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes into play when, you have to step up as a man and you're like, okay, like, do I give her a chance still on, wanting to move forward with her, even though she has a kid? And then, like most men, they'll go back to their homeboys and they're like, man, she had a baby, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Like, and then, look at it in a different perspective, but your homeboys, and then, you're over there looking stupid because, your homeboys are over there like, nah, man, you just fuck her one last good time, and then bounce. Like, no. Because, then that female's looking at you like, damn, like, I thought I actually had a chance with this nigga, and blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, just take a chance. Like, even when you don't feel like doing something or giving a chance to something or someone, it might turn out for the better. It really will. And if it doesn't, then oh well. I mean, like, you know, you still got a whole another, who knows, years to live. You got a whole another, how many years? Till you're 30?
4.
You got a whole another, okay, well, scratch that. You got a whole another 2 years till, you gotta get to, popping out some babies. And one day you go, another little bit before you reach your age 30. But yeah, you got a whole another 2 years to learn, to grow. I mean, pretty much, like, and, just basically be you. Like,
Hmm.
because being you, that'll attract something or somebody.
Hmm. Damn. Okay. Kind of. It's funny you end up saying that because that's actually what this one guy was watching a video about some of the rules of what successful people go off. And it's funny you say that because at the end of this guy's lecture, he gave like about a 20-minute lecture, but at the end of it, he said the number one important rule to becoming as successful as you want to be is that you have to be yourself. Because he was basically saying you can only be successful when you wake up every day with the mentality of being exactly who you want to be naturally at all times. You're only going to attract the best people for you by being who you really want to be deep down. So I feel like that is ironically powerful that you ended up basically repeating what a self-made millionaire said as one of the most as the most important key of becoming successful. Which again is why, like I said, I don't look to other men anymore for serious advice because too many men give scorned advice. They give bitter advice. Some of them give low key jealous advice. So I don't really just look at men anymore for advice. I try to go to women because, like I said, women always tend to have a more understanding and unbiased, perspective of the scenario at hand. And it's funny because, like I said, I kind of wanted to call and see what you were gonna say and see if your thoughts align with my thoughts as well because that was essentially my mind frame too, where I thought, well, hey, look, this person isn't perfect. They have a lot of flaws, and ultimately speaking, they may not be the right one for me. And see, like I kind of think what I'm trying to do here is, I think what you're seeing within my character is basically somebody who's scared to get hurt. I think that's really what you're seeing psychologically for me because I'm basically trying to predict the future and nobody can predict the future. Um, so, in so many words, you basically told me, what I needed to hear, and Um, you kind of said in so many words too. Hey, you got to put your man shoes on and take it on the chin. How it comes. That's how life comes. You got to take it on the chin. You can't have no glass jaw and make it through life. Expect to be successful, and that's true. I agree with you on that. Um, but I don't know, man. It's hmm. Any last closing thoughts? Any last closing thoughts and
Yeah.
advice?
Don't think too hard about it. Like, for real. Because you're going to drive yourself crazy about it. I mean, if, you just want to take a chance on this one girl, like, you got to do what you got to do. Like, don't think about it. Just do what you got to do as man. You know? Like, that's all you really can do. I mean, and that's pretty much like, all I got left to say. I mean, you know, and do what you got to do.
Hmm. You gotta do what I gotta do. Okay. Okay. Um. Touche. It's fair enough. It's fair enough. Well. All right. Fair enough. Nah, that's because I don't want to go in mental circles. Where I'm saying the same thing, but I'm saying it in a different way, and I'm sitting here just like how you just said, don't overthink it. That's kind of what I'm doing. I'm thinking of basically asking you the same questions, but in a different way, because it's making my brain feel like, oh, well, you haven't asked her this. Maybe if you ask her it this way, she'll tell you something that you haven't heard before yet, and that's not true because that's where life comes into play. Like, hey, you have to go out and you can't ask somebody to tell you what life is going to give to you. You have to go out and live life for life to give back information to you. So I feel like that's true because that's basically what you're telling me, and it's extremely true. But it just it's just that it's kind of a hard it's like being between a rock and a hard place when you have to go into a situation with somebody kind of like giving them 60-40, I would say 70-30, where you go in with 65-70% guard up and you might give them 40% or maybe 45%, but you never really just give them that full or even close to the majority until you start to feel like, okay, can I trust you? Can I really just you know like how in algebra, are you a linear equation? Are you going up, or are you like just a parallel slope line, like you just straight across, you know. So
I mean, and being like you said, so from a female's perspective, like being, sorry,
you
being
get it.
hurt, like that, it does take a lot out of you to sit there and bounce back into another relationship. Um, I'll go ahead and tell you while we're talking. Basically, my ex before London, um, cheated on me Valentine's Day night with some bitch. And we were in a long distance relationship since
Right.
November because I moved down here in November. And so, we would talk like, every night, all day and blah, 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 this and that and whatnot, And, whenever I would go back down there, I'd see him and all that, blah, blah, blah. I bought him Christmas presents, he bought me mine, all of that crap. And so, um, like from a female's perspective on something like that, um, it took everything in me to bounce back from that. Like
Hmm.
when I got back here, I went immediately straight back to the gym. Like the minute I
Hmm.
touched down here in Dallas, physically, like I went straight to the gym because I was like, I gotta pull this off before I go into the house. Like I had to, because I knew that if I went back into the house, my dad would be like, what's wrong with you? Blah blah. I couldn't just let that fade, and I couldn't just let that become who I see myself as, you know. Um, and then, I'm in London, and at first it was like, dude, and I'm like, so this is like this, like I literally had to take a chance with him because I was like, I'm just like fully recovering, not really, but some way, recovering from my ex. So do I really want to just, take a chance with you and, get to know you and, blah, 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 and progress from there and see where it goes? Or do I just want to tell you, hey, like, let's go get dinner after I get off work, we'll get to know each other and that's it? Or, do I actually just want to, go get dinner and then hang out with you, blah, blah, blah afterwards? And that's what we ended up doing. I mean, I took a chance and, I mean, just like I said, some chances, can be good to do
Hmm.
and to give. It doesn't always have to be that negative effect, whether,
Hmm.
before you go up to that girl, or before you text her, or before you call her, it doesn't have to go back to that negative thought of, oh, I've been hurt by, this female or this female did this to me, I'm 3 months
Hmm.
ago, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't have to be like that, but at the same time, like, you're going in with that mindset. And you don't
Hmm.
need to. Despite what, happened or whatever,
Hmm.
like, you
Hmm.
can't go into a situation like that.
Hmm. Damn. Damn. Okay. See, now that's real game right there. That's real game right there. That's why I said I need a female's perspective, man, because that's deep. That's deep because that's basically I'm guilty as charged of that because I'm looking at her in a way that I feel like if I basically kind of what you just said, if I heard you right, you saying if I go in with that energy, looking at her like already expecting something to happen, then something will probably happen, and it'll be that potentially negative effect, and not only that, uh, it'll probably linger in me and mess up a lot of other chances. So I guess what I think what you said either purposely or accidentally, because like I said, sometimes I feel like sometimes women don't realize how wise they really are accidentally. Because like if you notice on some movies, you'll see in the movie at some part in time, it'll be like maybe like an action scene or all the shit's hitting the fan, shit's getting real in the movie, and the main character, usually a dude, he'll be just out of options, and it'll be the female, it'll be like the girlfriend or the wife that come out of nowhere with something extremely small and simple, like, hey, is this what you're looking for? And that'll be like saves the whole day, you know. But it was only her that could see that. It was only the female that went and thought about that in the moment, like, why don't I go do, and then she comes back and so I I see what you're saying, and like I said, again, that's why I'm kind of starting this project because I feel like we just have too much ignorance out here that's blocking out the wisdom of women, and I feel like even the Bible doesn't really give enough justice to women in the sense of saying that the Bible does have a lot of stuff in there about women. You know how you need to protect women, you need to honor them, but it doesn't really just speak enough on how it does, but it does it in a real tacky way because the Bible says, well, woman was taken from the rib of man. But when you read between the lines of a statement with that, it's basically like the Bible is trying to say a woman is essential to the development of a man and the substantiation of a man's mental health. But you won't get that by reading just that one line. You'll think, oh, okay, whatever. Women just came from whatever. Came from us, fuck, whatever. So that's another reason why I kind of decided to, try to do this project because I feel like you have too many women who get platforms that aren't saying too much. Like you have your Cardi B's and your Nicki Minaj's, and God bless them. I'm glad that they're able to provide for their family in a way where they don't have to do no violence or be stripping or nothing crazy. But at the same time, you don't really hear these individuals speaking on the issues that matter. You know, um, so that's another reason why I kind of wanted to do this whole thing too and start the YouTube up and do all that. But I think what you kind of just said and told me in a way is that I need to be mentally stronger and stop being scared of being potentially hurt emotionally.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm just being honest, like, pretty
Yeah.
much, because, I mean, that's gonna hurt you in the long term. Like, if you know, don't fix it now.
Hmm. Okay. 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 Um. All right. All right. Like I said, I'm not going. Oh man. I wish I could bug you. I wish I could bug you longer with original questions, but like I said, I know at this point all I have is you know recycled questions where I'm pretty much going to be just asking you the same thing I asked you, but in a different way. So I don't want to do that to you. So um, again, like I said, I appreciate you taking the time to answer my questions. Taking the time to FaceTime me and respond intelligently and just be able to talk to someone such as myself on a level such as how we're talking. Um, so I do appreciate that. I don't want you to feel like uh, it's something I take for granted or it's just common because it's not. Uh, so at some point in time, I definitely do want to you know uh, hopefully maybe sometime in the near future. We definitely should go out to eat somewhere and uh, just converse a little bit more in a casual setting. Maybe have just like just have kind of like a grown folks evening out. Go somewhere nice, get something to eat, converse. Cause you the type of person that I'd like to spend more time around and just hear you talk. Meaning like I'd like to be in your presence as you just told me more about what you think about everything in the world because it's not like I said, it's not often that you find people your age that are so grounded and calm and collected. um, I know for young black men it's not at all. Maybe for women that might be different because I do believe women mature uh, and grow faster in the brain than men do by years, big time. So like I said, hopefully sometime in the near future, probably when I pick up my last paycheck from Forever 21, we can set it up
Wait,
around.
pause. What? Your last what? From where?
Oh yeah, no, my last paycheck.
Why, what happened?
Um,
Please don't tell me you got into it with a manager.
no, it wasn't that, but for me, and you could say this is a flaw of mine still, but see, for me, I know what my weaknesses are in life, meaning that I know what triggers me. I know what can land me in Dallas County jail. And what I mean by that is, um, I had some repeated incidents with I believe his name is Baraka, and I went to the managers about this because I was hoping that I would be respected as another man who identified himself as a straight heterosexual male. I I, I I was hoping that they would respect me as such. And my issue is that every time I was going to the restroom, Baraka was following me to the restroom. And at first I tried to ignore it, and I said, I'm not gonna really just let this ignore bother me. But it got to a point where I was using the restroom one time, and I hear this loud banging on the door, and I see the handle start to move, and I'm literally urinating as this is happening, and just kind of like out of frustration, I'm like, hey, who is that? Like, who you? You know, like who the fuck is? You need to piss that bad, nigga? Don't you ever just start wiggling shit? Because you know if that accidentally cracks open, then you know we now have to cross into either a very damn good explanation as to why you felt as though you should just wiggle a locked door open, or otherwise we might just end up moving some furniture around. So um, this happened very recently, and when I came out the restroom, you know, he was standing right there, and I told this individual, I said, you know, is there a problem? Why'd you do that? And his response was very disrespectful and laughable, like, oh, whatever, you know, don't trip. So that was strike one when I noticed, okay, I see I'm not going to be given respect. I'm now in an environment where I either have to take my respect or give you a reason to respect me. And I don't have many options to go about doing that besides consulting with the managers. So I went to Kakan, the Middle Eastern manager, on the way to one of my lunch breaks. Mind you, as soon as I said I was going on my lunch break, Baraka tries to take their lunch break. So I go to Dre and say, hey, bump my lunch break back, non-negotiable. I do not want to go on lunch with this individual. End of discussion. I'm not here to argue that I can walk out of your establishment, or you can just, you know, you can oblige. So they said they obliged. And Kakan, as I was talking to Kakan actually witnessed Baraka following me to the bathroom. But right before I got to the bathroom, I saw Kakan over there with Keisha. So as I was walking to him, Barack turned around and went back downstairs. And another person who was kind of like helping that whole little circus shenanigans come about was his friend Nico, the guy with the curly hair. Now, again, I have no problems with anybody. I don't go into any establishment and try to pinpoint someone who I look at and feel like, oh, that's a mark, or I don't do that. But at the same time, I stand for something, meaning that when you address this man right here, you will give me respect because I give it to get it. You will treat my request as if there's something important, because I will treat your request as if there's something important. Now, again, what rubbed me the wrong way that day was when I told Kakan my concern and issue, and he saw Baraka follow me and turning around, and he said, oh, just ignore it. And I lost my cool. And I said, I'm not ignoring shit. You know, if they open the door on me, I'm going to put my hands on this individual, because at this point, I've told you all 2 or 3 times, number one, that I'm being followed by another man that's dressed as a woman. And number 2, you all have failed to rectify the situation, even though I've told y'all multiple times that if this was the other way around. I told the general manager that, the white guy who came in, because we had a private talk, and I looked him in his face and I told him, and I watched him get very pink and red, as he should have been, embarrassed, because I told him, sir, in the state of Texas, as a black man my size and my build with this beard, if I followed a female to the restroom that many times, the police would be in here right now questioning me. And they'd probably be walking me out this bitch telling me, you good at Forever 21, Mr. Hobbs. You can go on home. And he didn't say anything. You know, he tried to say, well, it just sounds like you're being homophobic. I said, no. I'm coming to you to prevent a potentially homophobic moment from happening when my foot gets equally dispersed amongst all these assholes up in here, because I don't want that to happen. And so at that point, he said, well, okay, I'm going to look into it. And I told him, I said, I don't know why Keisha, you, and everybody else keeps telling me it's something to look at. There's nothing to look at. That you have all these cameras in here for a reason. You need to look at the footage. Every single time I go to the restroom, you can clearly see on footage, this person looks up, finds a way to find me through either Nico or their own peripheral vision, and they follow me. Nobody's biological clock is the exact same like that. It just don't work that way. So with that being said, after that happened, I had to come back and correct them, where I caught them. I was missing 3 days off my paycheck. So then I said, now, amongst the disrespect that I'm receiving from you all, and basically y'all laughing at my request to just be respected, I'm coming back with over $100 off my paycheck missing. Now I don't know how that happens accidentally. So Keisha and I were in the office, and she handled that for me. And the whole time she was kind of just like sitting there shaking, being nervous, and trying to her mannerisms were saying to me like, "Shit, you caught me." And I didn't want to say nothing because I started to kind of get on it right then and there. Like, man, you look like a criminal right now. Like, is there something you want to tell me? Are you going to screw my next paycheck up too? Like, should I be waiting for that? So the last day I was there, which was, I want to say it was the day you saw me, you know, I think it was the last day we worked together. That was it for me because Dre and I had a moment upstairs where, I was coming downstairs, and this was the third time this happened as well. Where I told Antoine, I was like, well, can I take my lunch? So they didn't tell you lunch. Mind you, Antoine was one of the people who told me, yo, your first paycheck should be small. So that's when I started looking at him like, okay, you little rat. Cool. I tried to respect you. Cool. I'm coming down the stairs, and Dre intercepts and oh man, why you didn't say anything about lunch? I didn't say anything. I just kept walking because at that point I was mad. And when I'm mad, I don't talk to anybody because I know the situation will get physical. So I just walked away. So then when I came back from lunch and went back upstairs, he approached me and said, man, why didn't you say anything about lunch to me? And I told him I shouldn't have to tell the manager about my lunch. I'm a sales associate. I'm your insubordinate. I shouldn't have to remind none of y'all about this. This is the third time this has happened. After that, he avoided me the rest of the day. So at the end of that shift, I got my stuff, and I told myself, that's it. I'm not coming back to work here no more, because at this point now that I see the general manager he doesn't have control over his workers, because while we were having our conversation, you had people walking in there and trying to stand there, and really what they were trying to do was listen and figure out what was going on. And he had to almost raise his voice at a couple of them, like, can you please get outside? Like, I've asked you to get outside so we can have a private talk. And when I saw that, I said, okay, the general manager doesn't even have control over his own employee. Like, they don't respect you. I'm watching 18-year-olds come into your presence, sir, and disrespect you blatantly, and you don't have a backbone to correct them, and they know you don't have a backbone to correct them or stand firm on anything. So I'm not going to affiliate myself with this organization any longer. Plus, again, for someone like myself, if I get arrested, police, even though you might get everything expunged and blah, 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 they go through federal databases to see everything that you've been arrested for. If I get arrested and if I have to stand in front of a judge anymore at any point in time in my life, unless it's something that, is just life-threatening, someone walks up on me with a gun, and even then, I have explaining to do. And I have a daughter, so I can't justify that anymore how I used to when I was younger. Like, oh shit, mama, I can sit them out. I can, that's a misdemeanor. Oh shit, that's the first felony. I can sit that out. That's just 1 or 2. But I can't. That rationale doesn't come to me anymore. Because I have a very beautiful daughter who, if I'm not there, then the next, little lame dude is gonna intercept and scoop her up and mess her head up potentially. So it was just like I said, it was a real, in my opinion, sad and unnecessary situation that happened with Forever 21. Because like I said, I was very mature.